है 30% में ही थी। एनसीपीसीआर का डेटा है भाई 99% बच्चों ने किसी तरह का पनिशमेंट स्कूल्स में एक्सपीरियंस किया है, जो कि हम समझ सकते हैं कितना चाइल्ड फ्रेंडली एनवायरनमेंट है हमारे स्कूल्स में। टेक्स्ट बुक्स का रिवीजन हुआ है, करिकुलम पे काम हुआ है, बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन कई प्रदेशों में सीधे से सीधा एनसीईआरटी की किताब लाई गई, जो उदाहरण के लिए झारखंड या राजस्थान के जैसे प्रदेशों के अंदर जो आदिवासी क्षेत्र में शिक्षक को ही नहीं समझ में आता है कि किस भाषा में लिखा है, तो बच्चों को क्या समझ में आएगा। मातृभाषा में पढ़ाई होनी चाहिए, विशेषतर आदिवासी क्षेत्र में। स्वाभाविक है, कुछ उदाहरण हुए हैं कुछ प्रदेशों के अंदर जो पायलट मॉडल पे चले हैं, लेकिन ऐसी बात नहीं है कि हर बच्चे को इस समय हमारे देश में मातृभाषा में इंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा हो। नो रिटेंशन और सीसीई ये ज़रूर हुआ है कि कक्षा 1 से 8 तक किसी को फेल नहीं करना है, लेकिन कंटिन्यूअस और कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इवैल्यूएशन जिसके तहत बच्चों को इवैल्यूएट करना था वो लागू नहीं हुआ है। और शिक्षकों की का शायद मिक्स्ड राय हो, उसके ऊपर 58% टीचर्स वर ईदर नेगेटिव और इनडिफरेंट टू द चेंज, बट भाई अधिकांश बच्चों को तो वो चाइल्ड फ्रेंडली प्रोसेस लगा है। ये सीबीएसई स्कूल्स के अनुभव के आधार पर है। स्कूल वर्किंग आवर्स कई जगह पर इंक्रीज़ किए गए, इंस्ट्रक्शनल आवर्स इंक्रीज़ किए गए, प्रयास ज़रूर जारी हैं, परंतु रास्ता बहुत दूर पार करना है। लर्निंग आउटकम्स, we have had enough of discussions about ASER. We know what the findings are. Things are not particularly good. But what is imperative to say is there was also a study last year on the quality of learning in private schools, and which are the elite private schools of the country. The learning outcomes in those best of best private schools are also below the international average. The strength of our intervention is working with the communities. Yes, there have been efforts towards broad awareness building. Yes, Shiksha Ka Hak Abhiyan has been launched. Yes, there have been special Gram Sabhas held on RTE. Yes, there have civil society has also engaged, but a lot more needs to be done. School management committees have been formed in a lot of states, but there are huge discrepancies and dysfunctionalities, ranging from the fact that the president of the SMC in Delhi has been notified as the head teacher, which basically means financial oversight of SMCs is with the teacher, not with the community, contrary to the spirit of the law. To the fact that SMCs have been formed over a week's time in UP and, for example, and Jharkhand, and lots of other issues. Coexistence of structures has happened. There is a VEC, there is an SMC at the same time in Jharkhand and in other places. वो क्या उसके पास क्या अधिकार हैं, उनके पास क्या अधिकार हैं, एक ही गांव के अंदर एक ही मुद्दे के ऊपर लगभग एक ही सेट ऑफ अधिकार के साथ दो समिति यदि हैं तो और जिनका आपस में कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, स्वाभाविक है कन्फ्यूजन है, स्वाभाविक है जो इस आत्मा है जो इस कानून की, जो समुदाय की सहभागिता है और लोगों की आवाज़ को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए, शाला के सिस्टम को ठीक करने के लिए, वो स्वाभाविक है क्रियान्वित नहीं हो रही है। प्लानिंग प्रोसेस ज़रूर शुरू हुआ। एनुअल इस आज के दिन में हम जहाँ बैठे हैं, एनुअल वर्क प्लान्स ऑफ SSA आर बीइंग प्रिपेयर्ड. I believe there is a meeting for annual work plan that's going on even now for some state today, but it's as proceeding as it has in the past. School management committees were supposed to prepare school development plans, which were supposed to be the bottom-up process whereby लोगों की आवाज़, लोगों की योजना, लोग निर्णय करेंगे उसके स्कूल में क्या संसाधन चाहिए। वो प्रक्रिया नहीं चल रही है प्रदेशों में, और उनको न चलने के वजह से संभवतः जो पहले भी प्लानिंग की प्रक्रिया थी वो चल रही है। लोकल अथॉरिटीज़ कई प्रदेशों में अपॉइंट ही नहीं हुई है। दिल्ली एक उदाहरण है, क्योंकि मैं दिल्ली बार बार उदाहरण ले रही हूँ क्योंकि हम दिल्ली में हैं और देश की राजधानी है, और जहाँ भी बनी भी है तो वहाँ पर यदि ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेस निर्णय लेना वगैरह वगैरह यदि पंचायत को लेनी है, ग्राम सभा को लेनी है, तो उनके क्षमता संवर्धन के लिए प्रावधान कहाँ है? If the first level of grievance redress is the panchayat, who has ever told the panchayat what the RTE is? I'm not, there are exceptions in a few states, but that's by and large. Private sector has grown, both in terms of enrollment and in terms of the sheer numbers. Therefore, we cannot ignore the private providers anymore, both from the perspective of the fact that they are a big number overall, परंतु साथ ही साथ वो देखते हुए कि वो एक बड़ा हिस्सा हमारे देश के प्रोवाइडर्स का completely unregulated है. Therefore, strong and rational regulation of the private sector is the need of the hour, and not least because the fact that the private schools have also even gone as far as as Amrish Bhai has pointed out, have gone to the court about it. Another emerging thread is the issue of public-private partnerships. The 12th five-year plan seems to be driving, at least the approach paper was driving a clear agenda. Nothing can happen unless one includes the marginalized, because quality and equity go together. There are unequal investments. केंद्रीय विद्यालय में जो संसाधन हैं और जो सरकारी स्टेट वाले जो स्कूल्स हैं उनमें कम से कम 25 का 1 का रेशो है इन्वेस्टमेंट का. जोग्राफिकली भी अंतर है. बंगाल में 4,000 और हिमाचल में 20,000 प्रति बच्चा. थोड़ा स्वाभाविक है कि गुणवत्ता में अंतर आएगा. ड्रॉप आउट है. हमारे मंत्री महोदय ने कुछ 2-3 हफ्ता पहले बोला है 16 million children are out of school in our country. Honestly, we don't have a figure which is universally accepted on how many children are out of school. But इस साल का जो स्पेशल ट्रेनिंग ब्रिज कोर्स का जो टारगेट था भाई, दिसंबर तक का जो लोकसभा का जो क्वेश्चन था, वहाँ तक तो भैया 42% टारगेट हुआ था. चाइल्ड लेबर अभी भी इलीगल नहीं है. CRPRA अभी भी अमेंड नहीं हुआ है. ज़रूर संकेत हुए हैं, ज़रूर बोथ MHRD and the Labour Department have agreed to it in principle, but it is yet to happen. There are issues of exclusion. You cannot look at issues of inclusion of children of marginalized communities also without looking at broader issues of exclusion. चाहे वो यदि हम विस्थापन का मुद्दा उठाते हैं, चाहे वो इंटरनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की वजह से हो, चाहे वो नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज के कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के चलते विस्थापन हो रहा हो, उन मुद्दों को बिना देखे हम आदिवासी के शिक्षा का मुद्दा नहीं देख सकते हैं. विशेष मुद्दा है विकलांग बच्चों का, जिनमें संभवतः इंक्लूजन के सत्र में राधिका जी हैं, ज़्यादा विस्तार में बात करेंगी. लेकिन कुछ अमेंडमेंट्स जो आए हैं, जो प्रपोज्ड हैं फॉर इफेक्टिवली विच अमाउंट टू इफेक्टिवली चिल्ड्रन विद डिसेबिलिटी बीइंग एक्सक्लूडेड आउट ऑफ द RTE इज़ अ नेगेटिव ट्रेंड. बहुत लंबी चर्चा हुई है, बहुत चीज़ें बोली गई हैं जो नहीं हुई हैं. हुआ क्या है? नोटिफिकेशंस हुए हैं, संसाधन बड़े ज़रूर हैं, TET ज़रूर इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ है, शिक्षकों के प्रशिक्षण का और अपॉइंटमेंट की श्रृंखला ज़रूर शुरू हुई है. इस कानून का पिछले साल से जो था सिचुएशन थी, क्रियान्वयन ज़रूर शुरू हुआ है. कुछ और भी पॉजिटिव पॉलिसी चेंजेस पाइपलाइन में हैं, जैसे RTE का एक्सटेंशन डाउन टू preschool and upwards into secondary education. What has happened, but slowly, principally SMCs. What has not happened is systematic effort towards teacher quality, financial redressal, financial readiness issues, so that people we actually spend the money that comes, and therefore it will no longer serve as justification for less of money being given. Grievance redress has to happen, and children of marginalized communities need to be included. मुद्दे और भी हैं, रिपोर्ट आपके हाथ में है. यदि आपके कुछ कमेंट्स हों ड्राफ्ट रिपोर्ट के ऊपर, प्लीज़ लेट अस नो, बिकॉज एज आई सेड इट्स अ ड्राफ्ट रिपोर्ट. And those who have not received it, the copies are on the table. Please pick it up. Please give us feedback, because it would not be finalized without your inputs. मोटे मोटे तौर पे तो यही है, और दिन भर की चर्चा से और मुद्दे निकलेंगे। धन्यवाद।
I'd like to now request Mr. Ishwaran, who is the head of the All India Primary Teachers Federation, to come and speak. As we know, teachers are the cornerstone of the delivery of quality education for schools, and this is the area perhaps that we have the longest way to go to ensure that all children get a good quality education. So I'd like to request Mr. Ishwaran to please address us.
Respected my dear Miller ji, my dear colleague Rai Saab, और जनीजा जी and Krishna Kumar ji and Patkar ji and my colleagues. First of all, I convey my sincere thanks for this opportunity which was given by Raj Sahab to participate in this forum. And also I am extremely happy that the Right Education Forum is organizing people's National Stock-Taking Convention on the Implementation of Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. I congratulate Sri Ambrish Rai, convener of the forum, and his associate for visualizing and organizing such a meaningful convention. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, really it is a historic legislation in the history of country. All the stakeholders, teachers associations, educationists, social reformers, civil society organizations, and politicians were longing for this act. But the act has believed the hopes of all of us. We think so like that. The implementation of the act has been tragic. Further, it is deficient in many aspects. He has said something here. Early childhood education, first of all, we can take that. The RTE 2009 leaves ECCE from its purview. The first 5 to 6 years of children's life is very crucial, as this period helps them for their development. Around 80% of the brain development takes place in these crucial years. Early childhood education between 3 to 6 years serves as a groundwork for successive learning in children's later spaces. If it is weak or is not there at all, the learning in the later stage is adversely affected. The country had approximately 60 million children in the age group of 3 to 6 years. The approximate coverage is about 34 million children by preschooling initiatives under ICDS. More than 60% of the 3 to 6 years children do not get preschool education facilities at all under ICDS. Even those who get opportunities for early child education under ICDS, they hardly undergo appropriate and adequate experiences to develop their potentialities optimally. Further, preschool education facilities are available in some government schools only, while in private unaided schools, nursery and kindergarten classes are there. Clause 2nd of the RTE 2009 makes a provision that, with a view to prepare children above the age of 3 years for elementary education and to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years, the appropriate government may take necessary arrangements for providing free school education for such children. The state government are yet to accept to take up this responsibility. The RTE 2009 needs to be amended, making it obligatory on the part of the state governments to take up this responsibility. This would go a long way in improving quality of education. Class 21 of the RTE 2009 makes the provision that every school should constitute a school management committee. The function of the SMC inter alia include the preparation of school development plan. On the basis of the plan, grants are made by the government. School development plan is a technical work. 75% members of the SMC are drawn from parents and guardians of children studying in the school. Of the remaining 1/3, each is drawn from the members of the local authority, teachers of the school and local educationists or children in the school, like that. Infrastructure facilities and teaching workforce in government run primary school are woefully poor. In 48% of primary schools, there are no separate toilets for girls. Wherever there are toilets, separate toilets for girls, that are not worthy or being used. This is because they are too dirty and not to be used. As such, many of them are not functional. I don't want to repeat again because just now she has explained all these things. I don't want to fully into that. But one thing I want to say this. After 50 years or so, the governance of the school of local bodies may be effective because parents and children will be literate to contribute effectively in the development of the school and development of the community. But in SMC we find the villagers are not fully qualified. I'm not saying their knowledge, but they are fully qualified regarding the administration of schools and other things. It is very difficult the SMC will fulfill all these things. And National and State Advisory Council 2009 RTE envisages the constitution of National and State Advisory Councils. These are charged with the responsibility of advising the central government and the state government respectively on implementation of the provision of the Act in an effective manner. It is shocking that none of the councils make a provision of representative teachers union, particularly Teachers Union of Elementary Teachers, but All India Primary Teachers Federation and its affiliates in different states on these councils. In this connection, I am to highlight that the president of AIPTF is represented on the monitoring council which monitors Service Shiksha Abhiyan. The meeting of the council are chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, you all know. People-teacher ratio, he has given the statistics, etc. now. The teacher-people ratio is not correct in all the schools, they are suffering. She has given the statistics, I don't want to interfere in that. But there is a need in independent body in this regard, both the national and the state level regarding the teacher-people ratio. It is very, very important. There was no provision of setting of independent authority at the national or state level for this. That is essential. I don't want to go there. She has explained everything. Our school children and child labor. There are no reliable statistics available regarding out-of-school children and child laborers. However, it is estimated that about 80 million children in the age group of 6 to 14 are out of school. Similarly, there are about 12 million children who are working as child laborers. This is a classical national wastage. These children end up as laborers because they do not get opportunities to develop their skills to earn their livelihood and contribute sufficiently to the development of the country. The RTE 2009 is silent about addressing the problem out of the school children and child laborers. Unless they are brought to the mainstream of education and they complete successful elementary education, the country cannot achieve quality of education at all. And right to free and compulsory education rules, the central and state government have developed the right of children to free and compulsory education rules, but the effective enforcement of these rules is yet to be take place. It is not concerned. And then duties of teachers and redressal mechanism. And there is a provision there in Acts Class 24. It says that teachers responsible, the teacher committee default in performing of duties shall be liable disciplinary action under the service rules applicable to them, and so on, so on. This act is like that. But we find there must be some part of teachers to pay the grievances and how it is to be solved, how the punishment should be given, what is there, it is not clearly mentioned in RTA. And infrastructural facilities, she has clearly stated how the position is there in schools, building, etc. But I want to say this one thing, a good percentage of these work in RTA forum, study conducted during last year revealed 30% of schools in Delhi do not have sufficient infrastructure and toilets, etc. also. This is, we find the capital city. And then only 5% schools had been filtered drinking water for children, that's all. In the light of this scenario, it will be extremely difficult for schools to provide infrastructure facilities as specified in the schedule of the Act by 31 March 2012. Very difficult. It can be on calculation, it cannot come into force or effectively. The last date for fulfilling the norms and standard mentioned in the schedule, that is not possible. Public-private partnership, he has explained that, but our point is quite view. There is a shortage about 1 million primary teachers in the country, she has told. The demand for education facilities is increasing because of the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. In order to meet the shortage of the primary teachers, the Government of India has launched the scheme Public-Private Partnership in school education. The government is encouraging the private enterprises to come forward to open the school and is also providing facilities like land, loan, other things, etc. You all know there is, the schools, private schools are like mushrooms in India. In addition to that, government is making the plan. The initial contract for such provision of quality education would be 10 years for each school, which is extendable as per mutual agreement. By this policy, the government is commercializing education. These enterprises would sell education to those who can buy it. Yesterday, I think I have seen the TV also. All the matriculation people, the owner of the schools, they sat on one row. They totally accepted, we are commercial. Yes, we can sell. People need this. Openly they are selling. Always we are selling commercial education. Yes, we are commercial. We are working for money. We want money because the parents are asking so many facilities. We have to do that. We are collecting charges from them. What is in it? That we don't want to talk about this. Why the government is going to that part? That's the question. Is the government to give the education to the poor children? But it has made them to talk like this in the open forum in the TV, in the front of the officials, all the people. And we can also say they would mint money from schools they will establishing. The Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India has invited application for opening 2,500 model schools under PPP in blocks other than the educationally backward ones. One school per block. Model schools would operate classes from 6 to 12. These schools would out of reach of the poor householders because of high tuition fees being charged by the schools. A good number of private unaided schools are already in existence. Honorable Union Minister for Human Resource Development had made statement in the past for narrowing the gap between the unaided private schools and government schools. The policy of PPP would further widen the gap between the private, unaided and government schools. The policy would further divide the schools into two categories, schools for rich and schools for poor. And what about the common school system? It will, whether it is be implemented or it is just like a logic statement, that's all. That's a question before us. So this measure to further accentuate the gap between the rich and poor, this policy would be very disaster for the society in the years to come. The government should therefore withdraw this policy. We are protesting that, creating the dual system of community, rich and poor. Rich can get good education, poor can poor education, most backward education. What is that? So as is for ourselves, All India Primary Teachers Federation, we are completely protest that. We want this to be changed. That is our intention. In government schools, which are in reach of poor people too. The government has a duty to provide quality education to each child because right education has become a fundamental right. And then we have one statement here that we have seen that 25% of children can be admitted in schools. But what the management says? The management says we cannot admit 25% because we can admit only in the lower standard pre-classes. If they are coming for admission 6th or 7th or 8th, no, we won't admit them without passing green tests. They are having green tests. Definitely they are saying. But government forces, we will go to the court. We will fight for that. But openly they are declaring in the TV that slowly this act will fall down. They cannot compel us. We can't do that. Our way is quite different than. We don't want inspection. We don't want government support. We want any assistance from anybody. Leave us, ourselves, children, parents, that's all. What they are going to do, the school is quite different. This is the statement given by them. And then teacher eligibility test. Now, it is last point I am saying, teacher eligibility test. The government is coming now. The government introduced teacher eligibility test. Any individual who diploma holders has to clear test being eligible for post of a teacher because already teachers have passed their training. They got certificate, diploma certificate. In certificate, it was written as a bona fide teacher to teach in the class. But again, the government want to test the teacher whether they are fit. What examination? They are going to give some written examination. What is the use of the examination? A man can write well 10 pages. Can he teach in the class? Is it possible? How can they test? How can they take the selection of teachers? Writing is not only essential of teachers. And teacher education is not only in schools, not only training, but not only daily life. They have to prepare every day and they have to go and teach. That is the teacher. But they say they can give an examination again, they will pass. So this will also give corruptive method. Paper correction is a corruption, result is a corruption, and then appointment is a corruption. What is the use of that? We have to see this. This is one of the points that we are opposing this point that this corruption of this testing, other things, examinations and recommendation should be taken away. Finally, the situation highlighted above reflects that Right of Children and Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 is off the track. The beginning it is off the track because it does not cover certain significant aspects of school education. If steps are not taken to amend the RTA Act soon, it is feared that may meet the same fact as Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has met. That despite of all interventions by the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, education for all seems to be a distant dream. We cannot see on 2015 this will be finalized. How long it will go? Because it is on 30% or 40% in some areas. So, in the present scenario, it is very difficult to predict as when the country would achieve education for all. It's a question before all of us. The educationists, they are having their thinking is going on they are disturbed more or less. Good educationists cannot sleep at night. What is going on here? How the children must be. This is our aim. Anyhow, I think this forum will also help to modify some changes because the rulers can sit for 2 years or 3 years in the chair. But what they are committing wrong, that will affect the country for 10 years. It's sure. So before that, we have to stop what they are saying there. But we can do that because we have got members. So that the next parliament session, we have been decided to have a picketing program before the parliament, daily 1 lakh teachers to modify the PPP and all these items. Otherwise, we will process continuously. This is our plan of All India Primary Teachers Federation on this issue. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ishwaran, for those some very important points. from early childhood education, which has been left out, and that we need to look at, two issues of public-private partnership. And I would like to ask now Jayati Ghosh, professor from JNU and a development economist, to address us.
थैंक यू वेरी मच शिरीन। सबसे पहले तो मैं RTE फोरम को बधाई देना चाहूँगी कि इस बहुत ज़रूरी बात पे उन्होंने इतने काम भी किया है और इस चीज़ को डिसेमिनेट करने के लिए भी फ़िलहाल जो कोशिश